By 1918, the Central Powers faced immense internal and external pressures. This coalition included Germany, Austria-Hungary, the Ottoman Empire, and Bulgaria. Their military capabilities were severely diminished due to prolonged conflict. Populations within these nations endured immense hardship and suffering. These factors collectively contributed to the impending collapse of the Central Powers. The Austro-Hungarian Empire was a vast, multinational state characterized by its diverse ethnic composition. Despite its size, the empire faced significant internal challenges stemming from widespread unrest. Various nationalist movements emerged, driven by the distinct identities and aspirations of its ethnic groups. These groups increasingly sought greater autonomy or complete independence from imperial rule. The rise of nationalism led to growing political fragmentation within the empire. This internal strife ultimately contributed to the empire's eventual decline and dissolution. The Austro-Hungarian Empire faced increasing internal pressures as World War I progressed. The cohesion of the empire rapidly deteriorated due to the strains of the ongoing conflict. Various constituent regions within the empire began to declare their independence. The central authority of the Austro-Hungarian government effectively ceased to function. This widespread disintegration ultimately led to the empire's complete dissolution. The Ottoman Empire, once a dominant global power, faced significant decline. Years of continuous conflict severely weakened its military and economic foundations. Internal challenges, including political instability and administrative inefficiencies, further eroded its strength. Its vast territories, particularly in the Middle East, became highly contested among various powers. This period marked a critical phase in the empire's eventual dissolution. The Ottoman Empire faced insurmountable military defeats in the early 20th century. Key territories were occupied by opposing forces, weakening the empire's control. These overwhelming pressures ultimately forced the Ottoman Empire to surrender. This event marked the end of an empire that had endured for over 6 centuries. By 1918, Germany, the leading central power, faced severe internal crises. The nation's population endured widespread food shortages. Economic distress was prevalent across the country. These conditions significantly weakened Germany during the war. In 1918, Germany experienced dire conditions, fueling widespread discontent among its populace. These circumstances led to significant political instability throughout the nation. Revolutionary sentiments intensified, posing a direct threat to the existing monarchy. The growing unrest culminated in widespread civil unrest across German territories. On the 11th of November 1918, a pivotal armistice agreement was formally signed. This agreement marked the official cessation of hostilities on the Western Front. The armistice brought about an immediate end to the fighting. It effectively concluded the combat phase of World War I. This event is historically recognized as the end of the Great War's battlefield conflict. The Treaty of Versailles was a pivotal peace treaty signed in 1919. Its primary purpose was to officially conclude World War I. The treaty was negotiated and signed between the Allied powers and Germany. It served as a comprehensive document outlining the terms of peace. The treaty addressed various aspects, including territorial adjustments and reparations. It significantly reshaped the geopolitical landscape of Europe post-WWI. The Treaty of Versailles, signed in 1919, imposed significant territorial losses on Germany. These territorial adjustments were a key punitive measure following World War I. Alsace-Lorraine, a region with historical contention, was returned to France. Other regions, such as parts of West Prussia and Upper Silesia, were ceded to Poland. The Saar Basin was placed under League of Nations administration for 15 years. These territorial changes led to the creation of new nations and altered European borders. The Treaty of Versailles imposed significant reparations on Germany after World War I. These payments were a major component of the treaty's clauses. The primary purpose was to compensate the Allied nations for war damages. The reparations aimed to address the economic costs incurred by the victorious powers. Before World War I, the global political landscape was dominated by several large empires. These included the German, Austro-Hungarian, Ottoman, and Russian empires. Each empire controlled vast territories across different continents. These empires were characterized by diverse populations and significant geopolitical influence. The aftermath of World War I led to significant geopolitical restructuring. 4 major empires collapsed following the conclusion of the war. This event marked a dramatic shift in global power structures. It signified the end of long-standing imperial systems worldwide. The German Empire was established in 1871, unifying various German states into a single monarchy. It existed as a powerful European monarchy for nearly 5 decades. The empire's defeat in World War I marked its end as a monarchical state. This defeat led to the dissolution of the imperial government and significant political restructuring. The Weimar Republic was subsequently established, transitioning Germany to a parliamentary democracy. The post-war period also involved substantial territorial adjustments for Germany. The Austro-Hungarian Empire was a dual monarchy, a major power in Central Europe. Its existence spanned from 1867 until its dissolution in 1918. The empire completely fragmented into multiple independent states. This fragmentation was a direct consequence of the war. Rising nationalism among diverse ethnic groups also fueled its collapse. The Ottoman Empire, a significant historical power, underwent a process of dismantling following its collapse. Its vast territories were subsequently divided among the victorious Allied powers after World War I. Many regions were established as mandates, administered by Allied nations under international supervision. This territorial redivision directly led to the formation of numerous modern states in the Middle East. The post-Ottoman reordering profoundly reshaped the political geography of the region. The Russian Empire faced significant internal and external pressures during the early 20th century. World War I severely exacerbated these tensions, leading to widespread discontent and instability. This culminated in the collapse of the Russian Empire, marking the end of Tsarist rule. The subsequent Russian Revolution brought about radical political and ideological transformations. This period saw the rise of new political forces and the establishment of a new state structure. Ultimately, these events led to the formation of the Soviet Union, a new geopolitical entity. The redrawing of European borders led to the creation of new independent countries. These new nations emerged from territories previously held by collapsed empires. This process significantly altered the political map of Europe. The dissolution of large empires facilitated the rise of these sovereign states. The formation of these new countries reshaped regional and international relations. For over a century, Poland endured a period of partition among powerful neighboring empires. This historical division meant Poland existed without sovereign statehood. The end of a major global conflict marked a turning point for the nation. Following the war, the geopolitical landscape shifted significantly. Poland successfully re-established itself as an independent and sovereign state. This event restored Poland's national identity and self-governance on the world stage. Czechoslovakia emerged as a new nation after World War I. It united Czech and Slovak regions previously under Austro-Hungarian rule. This formation represented a significant act of national self-determination. The new state was established on the 28th of October 1918. Yugoslavia was established as a new state in the Balkan region. Its formation aimed to unite various South Slavic peoples. These groups had previously been under Austro-Hungarian and Ottoman rule. The primary goal was to create a unified South Slavic national entity. The Baltic states include Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, located in Northern Europe. These nations achieved independence from the former Russian Empire. Their emergence marked a new era of national sovereignty in the region. This historical event reshaped the political landscape of Eastern Europe. Following the collapse of the Ottoman Empire, its former territories in the Middle East were reorganized. These territories were placed under mandates, primarily administered by Britain and France. Key mandated territories included Iraq, Transjordan, Palestine, Syria, and Lebanon. These mandates were established with the stated goal of preparing regions for self-governance. The mandate system profoundly influenced the formation of the modern political map of the Middle East. World War I inflicted severe damage on the European economy. Extensive destruction of infrastructure was widespread across the continent. Significant loss of manpower further crippled economic productivity. Massive war debts left many European nations in financial ruin. Industrial production across Europe experienced a severe decline, impacting economic output. Established trade routes were significantly disrupted, hindering the flow of goods and services. The immense financial burden of post-war rebuilding efforts strained national economies. Repaying substantial war loans further exacerbated the economic pressure on nations. These combined factors led to widespread economic instability and hardship across the continent. World War I significantly reshaped global economic power dynamics. Unlike European nations, the United States emerged from the conflict in a dominant economic position. The U.S. became the world's leading economic power following World War I. This ascendancy was largely due to its role in supplying goods to Allied nations. The U.S. also provided substantial credit to Allied nations, further solidifying its economic strength. The war significantly stimulated American industry, leading to increased production and innovation. Agriculture also experienced a boom, meeting heightened demand for food and raw materials. This dual growth in industry and agriculture fueled a period of substantial economic expansion. The nation experienced widespread prosperity, marked by rising employment and wealth. Consequently, the U.S. transitioned from a debtor to a creditor nation on the global stage. World War I profoundly impacted societal structures and gender roles. As men deployed to the front lines, a significant labor void emerged in industries and services. Women stepped into these roles, entering the workforce in unprecedented numbers. They took on jobs previously considered exclusive to men, including factory work and transportation. This shift challenged traditional perceptions of women's capabilities and societal contributions. The war thus served as a catalyst for significant social change regarding women's economic participation. Women's increased participation in the workforce marked a significant societal shift. This expansion challenged traditional gender roles and expectations within society. It led to a re-evaluation of women's capabilities beyond domestic spheres. Perceptions of women's roles in both public and private life began to evolve. This transformation laid crucial groundwork for future women's rights movements. The economic contributions empowered women, fostering demands for greater equality. World War I profoundly impacted a generation of veterans, shaping their collective identity. This cohort became known as the Lost Generation, reflecting their disillusionment and trauma. Many experienced deep psychological distress from the horrors of trench warfare. The immense loss of life during the conflict contributed to their profound sense of loss. This term encapsulates the widespread emotional and spiritual damage suffered by these veterans. Collective trauma, such as that experienced by veterans, profoundly influences societal culture. This trauma shapes artistic and literary expressions across various mediums. Writers and artists often reflect the deep disillusionment stemming from such experiences. Their works frequently depict the psychological scars left by significant traumatic events. These cultural reflections serve as critical historical records and societal commentaries. The Spanish flu pandemic emerged towards the end of World War I. It rapidly spread globally, becoming a significant health crisis. The pandemic resulted in millions of deaths worldwide, impacting populations severely. This global health crisis occurred immediately after the war, adding to societal strain. It profoundly reshaped societies already grappling with the aftermath of the conflict. The Spanish flu pandemic caused widespread devastation globally. It significantly intensified feelings of loss and uncertainty across societies. The pandemic's impact extended far beyond direct mortality figures. It profoundly affected social structures and daily life. The societal consequences were distinct from those caused by the war itself. This created a complex and lasting societal upheaval. World War I significantly impacted global political landscapes. The conflict created an environment conducive to the emergence of new political ideologies. In Russia, the immense strains of the war led to widespread social and political unrest. This culminated in the Russian Revolution, a pivotal event in the nation's history. The revolution ultimately facilitated the rise and establishment of communism in Russia. The Bolsheviks, led by Vladimir Lenin, played a pivotal role in 20th century history. They successfully established the world's first communist state, known as the Soviet Union. This new political system emerged as a radical departure from existing governance models. It presented a distinct alternative to traditional monarchies prevalent at the time. The Soviet Union also offered a contrasting ideology to establish democratic systems worldwide. Post-World War I Italy faced severe economic hardship and widespread social unrest. These conditions created a fertile ground for the emergence of new political ideologies. Fascism, an authoritarian ultranationalist political ideology, gained traction during this period. Benito Mussolini, a prominent figure, skillfully capitalized on prevailing nationalist sentiments. He exploited public dissatisfaction with the existing democratic political systems. Mussolini's leadership led to the establishment of the fascist regime in Italy. Fascism is a political ideology defined by extreme nationalism and authoritarianism. It fundamentally rejects liberal democracy, prioritizing state control and national unity. This ideology gained significant political influence, notably in Italy during the early 20th century. Subsequently, fascist principles also became a powerful force in Germany, shaping its political landscape. Nationalism, a powerful ideology, existed globally even before major conflicts. The post-war era witnessed a significant intensification of nationalist sentiments worldwide. This surge in nationalism was a defining characteristic of the period. Many newly independent nations emerged, founded upon strong nationalist principles. These principles often served as the ideological bedrock for their formation and identity. Heightened nationalism often leads to significant ethnic tensions within and between nations. These tensions frequently escalate into disputes over territorial claims and borders. Such conflicts contribute to widespread political instability across various regions. Ultimately, this can result in future conflicts and prolonged periods of unrest. The Treaty of Versailles was signed in 1919, officially ending World War I. Its primary objective was to establish lasting peace and prevent future global conflicts. However, the treaty imposed harsh reparations and territorial losses on Germany. These punitive measures fostered resentment and economic instability within Germany. This discontent inadvertently created fertile ground for extremist ideologies to rise. Ultimately, the treaty's terms are widely considered a significant contributing factor to World War II. The Treaty of Versailles imposed severe conditions on Germany after World War I. These harsh terms led to widespread resentment among the German populace. Many Germans felt deeply humiliated by the treaty stipulations. A pervasive sentiment of unjust punishment fueled national discontent. The War Guilt Clause assigned Germany sole responsibility for initiating World War I. This clause was a key component of the Treaty of Versailles. Signed in 1919, Germany was also burdened with massive reparations, imposing severe economic strain. These punitive measures fueled a profound sense of national grievance among the German populace. The perceived injustice fostered a widespread desire for revision of the treaty's term. This deep-seated resentment contributed to political instability and future conflicts. Germany faced severe economic instability in the aftermath of the war. A primary cause was the heavy burden of reparations imposed on the nation. The war itself led to widespread economic disruption across various sectors. This combination of factors triggered a period of extreme hyperinflation. The value of the German currency plummeted rapidly and dramatically. Consequently, the nation experienced widespread unemployment, impacting many citizens. Economic turmoil creates widespread instability within a society. This instability often exacerbates existing social unrest and political discontent among the population. Such conditions render the populace highly vulnerable to external influences. Extremist ideologies often emerge, capitalizing on the prevailing dissatisfaction. These ideologies promise simplistic solutions to complex problems, attracting those seeking change. Germany's post-war period saw the emergence of significant political extremism. These extremist movements manifested across both the left and right political spectrums. They arose in response to the instability and struggles of the Weimar Republic. Such groups presented radical and often authoritarian alternatives to the existing political order. Their rise reflected deep societal discontent and a search for new political directions. Economic hardship significantly contributed to the rise of political extremism in Germany. The post-war period was marked by severe financial instability and widespread poverty. National humiliation, stemming from defeat in treaty terms, fueled public resentment. These conditions created a fertile ground for radical ideologies to take root. Extremist rhetoric offered simplistic solutions to complex national problems. This narrative resonated deeply with a substantial portion of the German population. Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party capitalized on Germany's post-WWI instability. Widespread resentment fueled by the Treaty of Versailles created fertile ground for extremism. Germany faced severe economic instability, including hyperinflation and high unemployment. The Nazi Party exploited these grievances, offering solutions to national despair. Hitler's promises of national revival resonated with a disillusioned populace. Their calls for revenge and a return to glory gained increasing public support. Hitler's ideology was characterized by aggressive nationalism, a core component of his political platform. A significant element was virulent anti-Semitism, targeting Jewish people as scapegoats for national problems. His platform also included a strong rejection of the Treaty of Versailles, seen as humiliating for Germany. This ideology resonated with a population desperate for change and stability. After significant turmoil, many Germans sought to restore national pride and reclaim their country's perceived former glory. The end of World War I directly contributed to the outbreak of World War II. Unresolved issues from WWI created a volatile post-war environment. Punitive peace terms imposed after WWI fueled resentment and instability. These conditions led to severe political and economic crises globally. Such instability ultimately paved the way for the Second Global Conflict. The Treaty of Versailles, signed after World War I, imposed harsh terms on Germany. These terms included significant territorial losses, military restrictions, and heavy reparations. The treaty fostered widespread resentment and economic instability within Germany. This environment created fertile ground for the rise of extremist ideologies, including Nazism. Ultimately, the conditions exacerbated by the treaty directly contributed to the outbreak of World War II.